Did your childhood home have fancy collectible display dolls that creeped you the F out?
Did you own a book of photographed babies dressed as various garden plants?
If seeing Christmas villages, ceramic light-up trees, and spode Christmas plates makes you remember holidays back when you were a wee one, you might be a Xennial. And we are too. Hi, I'm Dani.
And I'm Katie, and you're listening to Generation in Between, a Xennial podcast, where we remember, revisit, literally went on a visit for this episode, and sometimes relearn all kinds of things from our 80s childhoods and 90s teen and young adulthoods.
Yes, and today we have another special episode for you. We had a fun one not too long ago with our snippets of our favorite moments. But today we have one filled with all kinds of fun sound bites that we recorded while we were on a little field trip recently.
We should talk about quickly how we recorded the sound bites. Tell the listeners about our fun purchase.
Yeah, Katie took a little fun picture of this, so we'll put that on our socials. Oh, no, she did have it on our socials. We'll put it again. I bought these little baby microphones that are really popular right now that I see people on the interwebs using.
Yes.
So we use it with my phone. And hello, we're Xennials, and we struggle with technology. So we're standing in this antique booth for like 15 minutes trying to get these mics work, but we did.
Yes, so it was really, really funny, but it did work. Okay, so here we've got a clip when we first got there, which explains where we are and what we're doing. So let me just play that now.
Okay, we're on a field trip. I guess we need to do a little intro.
Yep, here we are at America's Antique Mall in Melbourne, off Sarno.
Yes, little field trip today, and we have these new portable mics.
Yes, we do.
So that's how we're going to have our sound bites throughout this episode. So it'll be fun. So, okay, what we're going to do today is as we go through the antique mall, when we find an item that reminds us of our childhoods or our teenage hoods in the 80s and 90s, we're going to tell little stories as we're there.
Yep.
So as soon as we walk, okay, so I'll pause it there.
Yes, so that was us just reminding ourselves we were pausing there. So yes, okay, so we took a trip to the local antique mall, our local antique mall.
Oh, one of them. We have a lot.
One of them. That's true. That is true. There are a lot, just generally in Florida, but the Melbourne area, there's a lot. But we were specifically looking for 80s and 90s stuff, which again, an antique mall, okay? The things from our childhoods first-hand accounts, as Patrick always says. So just let that sink in for a second, Xennials. Our childhood things are in antique malls now.
Girl.
And it was the first time either of us had actually ever been there. Yeah. And first of all, it was huge.
It was huge. We were on a time crunch as always, having to pick up kids and go to things.
Yeah.
But we should have found a time where we could have stayed all day because we missed so much, I feel like. Yeah. We were there for like 2 hours and it still wasn't enough.
It wasn't. And there were like these maps and, aisles. That's what I would call them. Like you're walking down aisles. But they gave them like street names. So there were like intersections of streets. There was like this whole map. I mean, there were a lot. And the booths themselves, there were a few big ones, but most of them were pretty small. There were just so many.
Yeah.
It was wild. And we're going to tell you more of the stuff we saw. But so here's what we did is we walked around and saw things that were attached to our childhoods, teenhoods, or just memories in general, or if we thought it was cool. We paused and took out the mobile microphone kit that Dani bought, and we held our little microphones to our mouths and chatted about our thoughts. And the other shoppers, I think, were a little confused.
Yeah.
But it was fine.
I mean, but really, when you're in an antique mall, like, there are all kinds of peeps there doing all kinds of stuff. So, honestly, I don't think anybody cared what we were doing.
Or even noticed us. Honestly.
Really. So, okay. So, we were there 5 minutes, and I was one of the first to have their memory jogged. Yes. And not in a warm and fuzzy way, y'all.
Yes. Okay. Here we go. Dani's thoughts right after we got there.
All right, so here we go. We're not even 5 steps into the store yet, and I see this doll. By the way, we'll have pictures on our socials that reminded me of our Madame Alexander dolls when I was a kid. If y'all had moms who like to collect fancy dolls, you may know what that is. So we had a piano growing up. We took piano lessons and we had this display thing on the top of the piano where you could put stuff. My mom put all the Madame Alexander dolls up there. And the creepiest thing ever was when you would practice piano, they would shake a little bit and their eyes would blink.
So they have like the blinkable eyes with the lashes.
Yes.
These do too. I know I know we're not looking at official Madame Alexander. These are called F&B. F&B. I think. Yeah, look.
Yeah. They look
It's
old
with an
and fancy.
E-F-F,
Yeah.
F&B.
Okay. Anyway, so that's my first scary story.
Wow.
Okay, but don't worry, listeners. We did come across some more dolls that were indeed the exact Madame Alexander dolls that I remember.
Yes,
Here
there
you
they
go.
are. Dolls 2. This was later in the trip.
Oh my God. We did find a wall of Madame Alexander dolls, everyone.
A wall.
And they're creepy, right?
They
See?
are. And you know what? After seeing the other dolls and these eyelashes are way longer
creepier.
and thicker.
Now, imagine them on top of a piano, and every time you're playing piano, they blink at you. Sometimes only one eye would blink.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Nope.
Creepy AF. I'm getting scared. Okay, bye.
All right. So, creepy part of my childhood. Horror movies could be made in the abundance, but I did some research, okay? And I found out some cool stuff about creepy dolls. So, here's the background of Madame Alexander dolls. Are you ready?
I guess so.
We have so many random things in research today. It's the best.
Gonna be so
it's
good.
the best. Okay, so here's the deal. In 1923, at the age of only 28, Madame Beatrice Alexander Behrman founded the Alexander Doll Company. So she grew up in her stepfather's doll hospital, which is where they just made dolls, on Manhattan's Lower East Side. But she believed that dolls should be played with and loved without breaking, like the porcelain dolls that were popular during her childhood, and without sacrificing details or quality.
Okay.
So I didn't realize that Madame Alexander dolls weren't all strictly collectibles.
They're supposed to be played with?
Yeah, it's weird, right? Some are not. Some are collectible.
Okay.
But when they were envisioned.
And I mean, I'm looking at it from a 2024 lens. Maybe back in the 20s and 30s, the 1920s and 1930s, that was a step up from
the porcelain,
whatever there was before. Yeah.
Right. So, I'm sorry. I look at my notes and I'm like, that sentence makes no sense. I put an era of toy industry first. Oh, yes. Okay. Sorry. My bad, everyone.
Now you know.
We all know Dani in language. Okay. So an era of toy industry first cemented her legacy as the mother of modern doll play.
Very cool.
That was interesting when I read that. So Madame Alexander actually created the first doll based on licensed characters.
Wow.
Yes. So Scarlett O'Hara from the book and movie Gone with the Wind. My next door neighbor growing up, Miss Linda, loved that movie. And I remember having that doll. And if it wasn't that exact doll, it was one just like it.
Okay.
And it was like in this case in her bedroom.
Oh, wow.
I know.
She really loved it.
It was weird. I mean, I grew up in Louisiana, y'all, and weird. I mean, I have issues with Gone with the Wind, as we all should. Anyway, but she was also one of the early creators of mass-produced dolls of living people. So she made dolls of the Dion quintuplets in 1936. Kind of a weird choice, but they were very famous.
They were, yeah.
And she made a set of 36 Queen Elizabeth II dolls to commemorate the 1953 coronation celebrations in Britain.
So she made 36 of those. Yep. So I would imagine if any of those are in existence anywhere, they're probably worth so much money at this point.
Oh, yeah, for
36 of them? Wow.
Yeah. And again, with her licensed characters, she made other ones. It was just Scarlett O'Hara was one of the popular ones. So, and that one probably is pretty collectible. But here's the thing. Madame was not just an artist. She kind of was also a pioneer in a male-dominated business world, which you have to remember the years we're talking about here, right? So she was 28 in what year did I say? 1923. So
yeah,
this is groundbreaking for females in the industry of any kind. But the American, I keep losing my spot. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get my life together today, everyone. Male-dominated business world. She was this wonderful woman who broke all kinds of glass ceilings.
Mm-hmm.
The American Original Factory actually introduced mini toy industry first, and this is kind of important. It emerged from the Great Depression with a new, larger factory space.
Wow.
Which is kind of wild, right? But here's some of the things that she did as a pioneer in this industry. In the 30s, she popularized sleep eyes, the innovation that allows dolls to close their eyes, hence the creepy ass blinking when the piano was playing that I was talking about.
Oh, yes.
So she invented that. Like that was not a thing until she made it. And now like all creepy ass dolls have it. And in the 40s, this is super creepy. She created one of the first walking dolls and created the first plastic face mold, which changed the doll making industry forever.
Oh, okay.
Not like actual walking, but like that was on legs that could move. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Had flat feet and you could make it walk.
Yeah.
Because a lot of dolls before then were just like baby dolls when you would think of a baby or just a pretty doll that did not.
That like
or
sat there or needed a stand. Okay.
So she created that. And,
cool.
and the plastic face mold, like let's think about it. That's revolutionary for a production standpoint for any kind of toy or product.
Yeah. And if her, value was dolls people can play with.
Right.
Obviously, it's a lot safer, better, whatever to play with a plastic face than a ceramic one or whatever. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
There you go.
Good for her. Okay. Well, we didn't see everything, but somehow we found all the creepy doll booths. Those weren't the only creepy ones, Madame Alexander. We came across this booth that were just the heads of dolls, like on almost like I call them like doilies, but they were like
you need to play the clip though.
Okay, let me play the clip.
See your reaction.
Okay, hang on, everybody, we're ready.
Okay, so Katie found something very disturbing.
To put it lightly, they are porcelain dolls, very fancy, but it's just their heads.
Literally, like it looks like a head on a platter.
It does.
And it's not art. It's like fancy heads.
They're like actual doll heads, 3D. It's like fabric doilies, like almost like part of their dress.
What are they called?
They're called Dandy ceramic vintage Christmas dolls.
And there's a lot of them. Like you just put these ceramic doll heads around. I can't.
Do they go on Christmas trees maybe? What's happening?
What? I don't know. Okay, we're moving.
We're leaving.
We're moving.
Okay, so yes, they actually do go on Christmas trees, and I must have a memory somewhere of like maybe a great aunt or maybe even my grandparents that did put these on their Christmas trees. Okay, weird. So I did a little research to figure this out. So the thing I said in the clip is true. These head-only ceramic dolls by Dandy are Christmas ornaments.
What?
Yes. And again, I have a memory. I think it was my great aunt Kate of a whole Christmas tree with these heads on them.
Stop it.
It's the whole tree.
So it's like, what?
I know.
It's like, I'm just envisioning, like, I
think it's supposed to be like a Victorian vibe,
but
like it's weird though.
I'm just envisioning walking into somebody's house. Like all my friends I can think of that would have a Christmas tree decorated with doll heads, it would not be Victorian vibe. It'd be like blood and guts.
It'd be like Halloween vibe. Yeah. So I looked them up. They aren't worth much. There's a lot of them in existence in the world. So I found a bunch on eBay for like $15 or $20, and that's about what they were at the antique mall too.
Yeah.
The company that makes these, Dandy, is still going strong, but they don't make these.
Okay.
These are not made anymore. They must not be popular. The company itself was established in 1954 and designed all of their own products, which they brag about.
Look at our heads.
Wow. Yeah, look at this. We did it ourselves. And they still have a team of over 150 designers, and they actually have 60,000 copyrighted patterns.
Dang, for heads?
No,
Okay.
now they make like plushies and like regular porcelain dolls with bodies. I don't even think they make the actual bodies. That's what I put in my notes. Oh, so yeah, if any of you know what's going on with that or why someone would want this, let us know. But not all the dolls were creepy, right? We came across a couple booths, but one in particular with dolls that you all might enjoy hearing about.
Well, we found the American Girl Mothership, you guys.
Yeah.
There are probably 100 physical
So many
dolls, and then lots more clothes. Oh, and the books. Look,
yeah.
the books
But you
are
know,
here.
looking, I don't know if any of these are from the 80s when the American Girls first came out. There are some more expensive ones at the top, but I think those were 90s ones.
Yeah.
I had the very first American Girl doll, OG, Samantha. I think I was like 6 or 7 when she came out. So this brings back memories. But she was the only one I had because American Girl dolls back in the day were not like what they are now. We're going to do a whole episode on them, them girls. Don't worry. It's coming.
What's interesting is there's a few problematic ones in here too.
Oh,
you see?
Aren't there?
Yeah. So that'll be interesting when we revisit. But if you have one that you still use as furniture, little home computer.
Little home computer.
Yeah.
Which I guess is now retro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So neither of us did any research because, like we said in that clip, we definitely want to do a whole episode.
Yeah.
Of the books and the dolls and the culture of what American Girl was and what it's become and all of that. So you can wait for that. But if in the meantime you need your American Girl fix, you can head on over to America's Antique Mall on Sarno, and you've got a lot to pick from.
Yeah, and apparently we really were on a doll kick that day. And I didn't even realize that until I was like going back through the sound clips and I was like, another one on dolls? But apparently we were on a doll kick. I don't know. And so here's another one we found that was kind of kooky. It was not creepy. And it made me stop.
I was trying to be ready.
He was like, be quiet. There you go. Sorry.
Go
okay,
on.
I was almost ready. Okay. It made me get all those nostalgia feels, and you'll see why when you hear this clip that Katie shall now.
Okay, so I honestly forgot this even existed. We found a figurine from Strawberry Shortcake, and it's one of the friendly foes, it says. It was like one of the villains, but they weren't really villains in Strawberry Shortcake. Her name was Sour Grapes, and she still smells like grape. And this year on this says, oh, it's $70, 1981.
Well, she's still in the box. That's why it's so expensive.
Sorry about that. Whoops. So she's still in the box, and she's still.
Let me smell.
Oh wait, no, it doesn't still smell. I thought I smelled grape, but it was my imagination that made her still smell like grape. But yeah, her name was Sour, and she's pretty fierce. I kind of want to be her for Halloween. She's got like this great makeup and hair
and eyebrows.
And eyebrows.
Look at
See, this was my eyebrow inspiration.
There you go.
Sour grapes. But yeah, that's pretty cool. It's authentic. It's in good shape too. Still in the box.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that little silent moment y'all heard and the whoops. Oop.
I'm okay now.
So the little silent moment and the whoops y'all heard on that clip was us in the way of a very stressed older man who had a very large cart that he was trying to navigate.
He was very unhappy, not with us. He was just unhappy with the cart. And then we were in his way.
That we were like recording and taking pictures and being ridiculous. And he's like, girls, I have a cart.
Pretty much, yeah.
Anyway, so here's the sour grapes info I found, and I remember her distinctly. So in the early 80s, y'all, Strawberry Shortcake toys were popular.
Mm-hmm.
And there were several cartoon TV specials that came out during this time. Not a regular series. We used to have these things in the 80s that were like cartoon specials that came on prime time. It was like events, right? So there were 6 specials that aired between 1981 and 1985. Obviously, they were repeated. And Sour Grapes premiered in the 3rd one that aired in 82, which is interesting because the box said 81.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that was just the strawberry shortcake trademark in general, and it just covered everything.
Maybe.
But anyway, so Sour Grapes is the partner in crime to the Purple Pie Man.
Oh,
yes, and he was the OG shortcake friendly foe. Although, I said on there like they were villains, and then I was like, oh, they were friendly foes. They weren't really villains. Actually, they were.
They were villains.
They were villains.
Okay.
Yeah, because I watched a few old clips, and I was like, yeah, they were bad guys. Like traditional, but they weren't really friendly. So I don't know what that wording was about. I guess marketing, but whatever. Capitalism, of course. So Sour Grapes is very confident in her abilities as a villainess, and she enjoys being evil. Okay. So I don't know why they called her a friendly foe. She liked it. So here's the thing. She's way smarter than Pie Man, and brags to him about her many successes in robberies and other feats, and she constantly belittles him.
Wow.
She's not nice.
She's a lot.
Yeah, she constantly thinks about getting rich and getting famous, and most of her schemes involve money.
Okay.
So interesting, right? Capitalism again, even with cartoon characters. Her plans fail mostly due to Pie Man mucking up her plans, or Strawberry and all her friends stopping her.
Okay.
So that combination of the two is Pie Man not being a good villain.
Right.
But apparently she's not either because she's not succeeding.
Right.
So, but here's the thing you're going to really like, Katie.
Oh my God.
She is capable of emitting a loud yodeling noise that annoys the Pie Man greatly. She uses it mostly to irritate and to punish him. Okay. I wish I kept my recording. When she isn't yodeling, that noise, she sings instead. And she's a really good singer.
Oh, maybe I should be her for Halloween.
Yeah, I thought about that. I was like, if we dressed up like cartoon character villains.
Yeah.
Which could be Katie. Yeah. So I thought I saved a clip of it. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
I feel like I could use this. So you go to the house that gives you the apple or the toothbrush. So you just yodel in their face. But if they give you the king size candy bar, then you sing them a little song.
I mean, it's I could not stop laughing when
that's assuming
I found it.
My 42-year-old self would be accepting treats on Trick or Treat.
I know.
Which I will not be doing. Don't worry.
Okay, let me see if I can find it.
I just steal my kids' candy when the night's over.
Oh my gosh, strawberry shortcake was so cute. And
so
strawberry
cute.
shortcake made a comeback.
Yeah.
In the
I loved
years.
her.
And I think they do have Sour Grapes in the okay, where's the yodel? Here we go. So I'm showing Katie a picture of the Pie Man. Do you remember him at all? Okay. There's always a moral lesson. Okay. Oh, there it was. Dang it. This is bad. We're doing really good on sound and editing today. I mean, we should have prepared for this, but well, that's the Pie Man crying.
You coward! You spoiled everything! I'm through with you! Take this! Oh,
I love that. Yodeling, loud, high-pitched yodeling as a form of punishment.
It sounded like she had a bell or something too.
It did. Anyway. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. All of that just so y'all could hear her yell. So,
that was really cool. I like that.
All right, moving on.
Okay, yes, moving on. But guess what? We have more dolls for y'all. So, of course, no Xennial Nostalgia thrift field trip would be complete without the number one doll, Barbie. And my first find when we were there that day. Lots of Barbies.
Okay, guys, we found a Barbie. It's labeled Sparkling Splendor. It's from 1993. It says it's a limited edition.
Oh, she might get it. Her eyes just really lit up.
It looks exactly like the Holiday Barbies, which I talked about in our toys episode that I got probably mid-90s, like 94, 95, 96 probably. It's not labeled as a holiday Barbie, so I'm going to have to do some research and figure out if she's like the precursor or what's going on here, but she's really pretty. We have a picture of her.
She is pretty.
I'm amazed by her. You'll see in the picture.
Katie is looking at her in awe.
Okay, we need to go now.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So Splendor Barbie. I was very awed by her, but I did not buy her.
No.
Maybe she's still there. I may have to go back. So the one that we saw there was the 1993 Sparkling Splendor Barbie Red. And she's actually not very rare. So they priced it at $15, and that's about right.
Okay.
15 to 20. But there is a very special version of this doll. So if you see this at a garage sale or a church rummage sale or a thrift shop, or if I do, she's coming home with me. And this is the pink Splendor Barbie.
Ooh.
She is a rare, extravagant Barbie doll that was released in 96
Okay.
to celebrate Barbie's 35th anniversary. She originally cost $900.
In 1996?
Yes.
Whoa.
And she features long pink hair, a full pink gown made of silk and lace. Yes. In 2022, Cosmopolitan reported that the pink Splendor Barbie right now could sell for around $240. So that's way down from its original price.
I wonder why it went
I don't know
down.
either. That's a really
That's sad.
interesting thing. And she's really pretty. I should have I'll show a picture to you later. I showed a picture to you because I was like,
I mean, you had
I
me
wanna
a pink
buy
hair
her.
and pink gown. Duh.
she's beautiful. Now, why she was like, I guess because it was a limited edition, but like
Oh.
she's not that much more fancy than the one we saw.
Huh.
So I'm not really sure what that was about. But I did mention Holiday Barbie in there.
Yes.
And as we got a little deeper into the antique mall, we did come across some of those too.
Yeah.
Didn't buy any, but I had a very good time looking at them.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I found a holiday Barbie from 1995.
She's sparkly.
She's still in her box. She's mostly in green with like a poinsettia bow. And she's really pretty. I have her somewhere. But it was fun to get to hold her in her little box.
She has on white eyeshadow too.
She actually does.
Yes. You know, you have your green holiday dress and your white eyeshadow, as one does
Yes.
when they're fancy. So on the last clip, I said something about is the Splendor Barbie the precursor to Holiday Barbie? And the answer is no, because Holiday Barbie started in 1988. So I guess they just needed another glamour Barbie in addition. But the Holiday Barbie is considered to be the first collectible Barbie, even though originally that's not how they planned it. But it was so popular, the dolls sold out, that they almost immediately began to command big prices on the secondary market, right? Like, so you go to buy one and they're gone and you buy them from somebody else, people making like parking lot deals, all those things, all those popular Christmas things that we've talked about before. Well, based on the popularity of the doll, Mattel realized there was a huge market for Barbie dolls for adult collectors because there were adults buying these too. It wasn't just like wrap it up for your kid for Christmas. Adults wanted them. So this was the beginning of the Barbie craze that continued to grow. It reached a fever pitch in the late 1990s thanks to eBay and people selling like their originals on there. It has died down since then. That's why a lot of them are lower priced now. There's just like so many Barbies out there and less people that are trying to get them. They've either found the ones they want or people now don't want them and aren't buying them. But the Holiday Barbie was the most popular or close to the most popular of all time. Many began their Barbie collection in general because of this series. Many girls received a Happy Holiday Barbie each year for Christmas. I got that right offline. Maybe boys did too. Anyone that received a Happy Holiday Barbie, I hope they loved it as much as I did. And I thought that they had discontinued these, but no, they still make Holiday Barbie. There is a 2023 version. So I'm actually going to keep my eyes open for the 2024 to see what she looks like. But that was kind of fun, like seeing those. And I know in the toys episode, I talked about like Barbies around the world, those and the issues and all of that. But it is true. I started to collect those because I was already collecting the holiday. Like, so when it said it was sort of like a gateway.
It's a gateway drug.
Yeah, gateway drug.
It's a Barbie collecting.
I have all the problematic dolls. Well, not the head only ones.
Ooh.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Anyway.
Look, Katie's Christmas tree is going to have Barbies underneath and doll heads on it.
Oh my gosh. What if I did that in the lobby of my studio? All the families would be like,
we're done.
Actually
not.
We should decorate for Christmas.
Yeah.
In here and out there.
For real.
You're going to have to help me because you're good at that stuff.
Okay.
Otherwise, it'll be doll heads.
I know.
So please help.
Okay. All right.
Then.
So we're reached the end of our doll fascination. Everybody's like, why are they just talking about dolls today? All right. We did, speaking of Christmas, we saw quite a few things that reminded us of the Christmas season growing up in the 80s and 90s. And for me, there were two things we saw that really hit my nostalgia heartstrings.
Yes. Okay. Here's the first one.
Okay, so Christmas in my house has always been a big deal, even when I was a kid. And there are these trees that have come back in style now because I've seen them at Target, like replicas. They're these ceramic trees that light up. I don't know what they're called. It says on here Glenview mold, ceramic Christmas tree, and it plays music. That's right. We had one of these growing up and I loved it. See how there's a little key in the back? You can turn it.
Yeah.
And it plays Jingle Bells. This one is from 1980, so it's $155, and it's in good shape.
Really good shape.
Yeah, but I used to love this thing, and I was never allowed to touch it for valid reasons because, like, I'm scared of it right now because
she's like recording 5 feet away from it,
I know.
Staring at it, but not touching it.
The whole thing's ceramic, right? But I wanted to make it play music, so we're going to have some research sprinkled out through these sound bites, and this is going to be one I'm going to find. So, but they're so fun and Christmassy.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I was still scared. Oh my God. I am like on here trying to edit our little research document as we're talking because I put something in the wrong spot and now I lost my spot. Ceramic trees. So I really was scared to touch it. Hold on. Let me fix my
I know. I see where we are. I know what we're doing. Don't worry. I gotcha.
Oh, it went away. Okay, whatever.
I know what order we're doing.
Okay, so here's the deal. Ceramic Christmas trees had some interesting research. They first started showing up not in the 80s, guys, in the 1940s.
Oh, dang.
So the original trees were handcrafted by private artists on a small scale and sometimes featured little tiny electric bulbs that lit individually, not like that you just plugged in. But in the following decades, advancements in mold making techniques led many ceramic mold companies to develop molds based on the Christmas tree design. And in particular, the Atlantic Mold Company is attributed with copywriting one of the first ceramic Christmas tree designs, A64. Okay.
Wow.
In 1958. So the one that I was looking at was made from that specific mold.
Wow.
Okay. So here's how they got popular. DIY Christmas projects became really big and popular during the Great Depression in the 1940s for obvious reasons. But it continued into the 50s and 60s because of the explosion of Christmas consumerism.
Oh, boy.
And a retreat into traditional gender roles following the war.
Okay.
So interesting and kind of icky.
It's really icky.
I know. But the ceramic Christmas tree was perfect for this purpose. So it was a DIY. You could make them together. Lots of housewives making these little trees. Okay. So in the 60s and 70s, craft shops would actually offer workshops. You know, like Michael still does that in Lowe's where you can like, go and make stuff. Yeah. So they had workshops where people would come and create their own ceramic Christmas trees using the mass-produced molds. So you would paint it yourself and glaze it and all the things. And in addition, advancements in plastics and lighting led to the replacement of those pain in the butt individually lit bulbs with one light bulb that lit the entire tree's plastic bulbs from within. So that, you know, instead of just each little light, like that you had to replace each little light, there was one light bulb that lit up the whole thing with the little plastic. So the mold was ceramic. The lights were plastic bulbs. Okay. And then you put like a light bulb on the bottom. Woo, that's a lot of explanation. But here's the thing. Ceramic Christmas trees. I lost my spot again. This is going so well.
Well, they began going out of style in the 1980s.
Oh, there we go. They did. Which is weird because that's when I remember it. Like we had it, but they started going out of style in the 80s. And by the 90s, The influx of ready-made ceramics from Japan and China sealed their fate, although they have made a retro comeback in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
They started selling them at Target like last Christmas or the Christmas before. They're not the same, but they look very similar.
Yeah.
So they like everything comes back around, you know, at some way. But yeah, so that actually some of the OG Atlantic mold ceramic trees are on eBay for $400 to $500.
Dang. I
Like
wonder
the
how much
OGs
they
from the
cost at
50s.
first. I mean,
couldn't find
especially
that.
back then, it was probably like
I know.
$10, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm totally just guessing.
Isn't that wild?
That's wild.
So
yeah.
that's the kind of yucky history and interesting history of the
They are really pretty.
I know.
Yeah.
the
Like
ceramic
I was
tree.
looking at it like, I want one.
I know. I wish my mom still had hers because I would take it.
You would take it. You commandeer it. Okay, here we go.
Here's the other thing.
Oops. Okay. So I found this Christmas china that my mom used to have, and it was so fancy. It was like in its own special box, and it was Spode Christmas china. Now, the one I'm found here, I don't think is authentic because it's very cheap, and I think you could, if it was original, it'd be a lot more expensive. But they have like the wine glasses and the plates. And I remember, like I said, Christmas was a big deal in my house, and we would always have people over on Christmas. We didn't live by a lot of family. Actually, look, there's the boxes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're newer boxes, but it's a replica of the old Spode china. But my mom would always get, like, we'd have a big Christmas dinner, and she'd invite over friends like whose family lived away or people who were single. And we would take out the fancy plates to use on Christmas.
It's really pretty.
Isn't it cute?
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. It's just like a Christmas tree and presents under it. But every time I see that print, I remember like having people over on Christmas for Christmas dinner. But yeah, that's fun. I'll have to do research on that, but I kind of want to buy it, even though it's not real. Doesn't have to be.
Okay, so this was really fun to look back on, and has an interesting history like everything else, but a little bit of different spin. So Spode is actually an English household brand, and it was renowned for its exquisite designs and contributions to modern bone china. So they were fancy. They were founded in 1770.
Wow.
Nearly 150 years before the renowned Christmas set came into existence. So traditions and elegance were kind of the mainstay of Spode. It was a popular purveyor of porcelain in China, and it was based out of Stoke-on-Trent, England. It was only sold in one American store that was in New York up until the 1930s. So they had a sales rep, Sydney Thompson, and she would travel once a year to England to kind of collaborate with Spode and their art director, whose name was Thomas Hassel, on new, unique designs that would generate mass interest among their American clientele. So they would kind of work together to see, okay, what are Americans going to buy from Spode, right? So in 1938, the task was to introduce a new festive design for the Christmas season in the States. And it was left to one of Hassel's designers named Harold Holdway. So many seasonal designs were already in existence, but none seemed like lively or fresh and personal like the iconic illustration of Holdway's tree, which is what I was describing in our clip. It's like little tree with little presents underneath it. It's nothing elaborate, but it's become this icon. And the moment it was introduced to the U.S., the dinnerware was a bestseller.
Wow.
So it brought Spode to a broader audience across the nation and started showcasing its classic designs to new fans across a bunch of generations. So that Christmas design kind of helped them to reach more people, I guess you'd say. So the design is just called Christmas tree.
I love that.
Christmas tree. And that design was in production until till the Spode factory closed in 2009. So they produced it for a long time.
Dang.
Yeah, 1938 until 2009.
And it was the same, or like the same design,
yep, Christmas
at least.
tree.
Wow.
And it was still produced, though, even though after original Spode factory closed, it was still produced until 2011 under the Spode brand. So there was this I think Port Marion. Is that how you think you say
I
that?
think so, yeah.
They kind of bought out Spode. And so they bought all their designs and still produce their designs, but it is not made anymore. 2011 was the last time it was made. Now there are copycat designs, but it's not the OG.
It's not the OG.
No.
Okay.
So here's the thing. This was kind of fun to find out. And all you people out there who like to thrift and antique, you understand the importance of validating tell me how you say that. Authenticity.
Authenticity.
Bless.
Yes. Good job.
Me and language. What is it? Anyway, authenticity. Yes. So here's how you can usually determine it. You can usually determine it by the maker's marks on things. So dishes produced by Spode from 1927 to 1957, those 30 years, show this ornate back stamp. And it reads Copeland, Spode, England on it. It's very elaborate. It's ornate. But dishes produced after 1960 by Spode show a different maker's mark. The company changed ownership during that year, and they simply read Spode, England. Very simple, followed by a little pattern name and a pattern number that ends with a letter to indicate the year produced. And I remember my mom's having that on the back because that was like, I remember her checking it to make sure, like it was like in this little box and all the things. And actually, it's not too pricey to get an authentic set of Spode Christmas china.
Okay.
You can get a never used set from the 1990s, a set for 12, totaling 41 pieces. You can get it for like $200.
Okay.
So that's not too much.
That's not too much. It's like, do you want to spend $200 on it? But it's,
right.
But yeah, service for 12.
Yeah,
that's a lot of dishes.
41 pieces. I mean, I think that's what we had. I think we had a service set of 12. Plus, you had the little gravy boat and like all the little fun things.
Yes.
So that's just kind of for those of you who like antique items. Spode's kind of a fun one, but that's how you validate if it's real or not. Okay. And those there definitely didn't have that on the back.
No, you're right. They didn't.
Yeah.
They were cute though. I still think you should go back and get them. It wasn't 12, it was 4.
I don't know, but while we're sitting here, I was like, damn it, I should have got those. And remember those cute glasses we saw?
Yeah.
The Christmas cups. They were like highball glasses.
Cute. Yes.
And we were like, oh, they have 2 sets. You can get green, I can get red.
We got to go back.
We got to go back. All right.
All right.
How much time we got?
While we're right.
I'm just kidding.
Forget like working out or voice lessons or whatever else we're trying to do after this. Or picking kids up from school. We're gonna go back to America's Antique Mall on Sarno here in Melbourne, Florida. Okay, so in the Christmas spirit, we found some more cool stuff. Yeah. I had to find. Here we go.
Okay, we are at a booth that has a bunch of the Christmas Village, like ceramic houses that light up.
It doesn't look super antique though, but it looks like the ones that were.
It looks like maybe the ones we had in the 90s.
Yeah.
We'll have to check some of the boxes and see if they have dates. But one of the things I want to look at when I go to Indiana, which guys, I am going soon. Yay. So don't worry, I'm going to get all the things. My mom collected these. And what she would do is she would buy one every year.
Oh, yeah.
And it would have something to do with whatever. Yeah. So, for example, she worked for the post office for a couple years. We got a post office one year.
Oh, I love that.
Like the year I went to high school, we got a high school one. Like everyone kind of had meaning, and then eventually you'd run out of meaning and you'd just be like, here's a lighthouse or whatever.
Oh, I love that.
So one of the things I want to find when I'm up there, of course, I don't know how I'll get them from Indiana down here. It'd probably be a lot to ship them.
Maybe not.
If I boxed them and just had my dad like ship one a month or something and just send him
a full year to get
seriously. But I'll have to see which ones she has and maybe come back here and fill in with some extras.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yes. So the Christmas Village, I will loop back to the personal connection here, but I did go ahead and do a little bit of research on this. So these tradition of Christmas villages, also known as putz, because it's a German term.
I always thought putz was like an insult.
I know, me too.
Okay.
But maybe depending, I guess, what language you're in. It originated in Germany in the 16th century, so obviously they didn't light up and plug in and all those things, but it was a miniature representation of the nativity scene. And the word putz comes from the German verb putzen, which means to clean or to decorate.
So how did we mess that word up in America?
I don't know.
Okay.
Good question. So these miniature scenes were often made from wood or other materials, and they featured little figurines of the nativity. So then over time, the Christmas village evolved to include not just the nativity scene, but also other aspects of a traditional European village. So those would be houses, shops, other buildings, and then, of course, the villagers going about their daily lives. So in the 19th century, the popularity of Christmas villages grew and they became a common decoration in many households. You could just kind of make them yourselves too. You could make them out of plaster, cardboard. Some people made them out of sugar, which is kind of fun, kind of like a gingerbread house kind of vibe. They're still very popular today. Some can be very elaborate, found in a variety of styles and sizes, simple, rustic, elaborate, like basically anything you would want to find, you can find. And this line is just from where I was doing my research. Regardless of their style, Christmas villages continue to bring joy and a sense of nostalgia to many people during the holiday season. So they have all sorts of, kind of have evolved to what they are today. And there's lots of brands. So I didn't list one brand on here. Because there's just so many.
Yeah.
And some are worth more than others. More than anything, it's not the brand, it's how old and what condition it's in. So if you can find one from the 1940s or 50s with a box in great shape, or maybe even without the box, but it's in good shape, it still works, that's worth a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. But more than anything, I think these are just an inexpensive way. It's sort of like with a dollhouse. You have a dollhouse and you customize it the way you want. You make the rooms what you want. And people make their own doll furniture, their own things. I remember being a kid making stuff out of cardboard for my dollhouse that I didn't have. It's something that my daughter Tegan would probably do. And I think the Christmas villages are a similar idea because you build your own village with what you want. So I was in Indiana over the weekend and I did find them. My mom has about 35.
Dang, Mom.
So I went through and a lot of so look, we are not keep the boxes kind of people.
Yeah.
We are not. I am not. My parents are not. But each of these houses had a box.
Aww.
So it was great because a lot of them had the date on there.
Oh, cool.
So I could remember oh, she got this in 95. What was going on then?
Yeah.
But also I could kind of see the progression and she had them up through 2008, 2009 were the boxes that I saw. And they were different brands because what happened with my mom was she kind of had the brands she liked or knew what she was looking for, but then people started to give them to her as gifts. So if you just see one, I mean, even Aldi sells those types of things, at Christmas, they'd be like, oh, Sally likes these, let's get her one. So I think that's how her collection got as big as it is. And there probably are even more somewhere else. So I went through and I only grabbed about 12 that I really liked and put them in 2 huge boxes, package taped them up. My parents are probably coming for Thanksgiving. So if they drive, they'll bring them. I'm trying to get them to take the train and not drive, in which case my dad will just ship them to me. And that was my start. But it was interesting because, and I think this happens in every family when there's nostalgic things that maybe aren't worth a lot, but they're nostalgic. I had this moment where I was like, well, did my brothers want any of these? I'm just walking in from Florida and just taking all these. So my brother AJ was around. He was like, no, he doesn't have children or anything. And he's like, your kids will like them. But my other brother, I spoke to his actually ex-wife, so the mother of my nieces, and she actually did want some of them.
Whoop.
But she didn't necessarily, she said that the ones she wanted were the ones her and my brother had given my mom.
Okay.
So we kind of narrowed down which ones those were. And those were later. Those were early 2000s.
Okay.
And I was mostly taking
the ones from your childhood.
80s, 90s stuff. So I just figured if it has a 2000 date on it or whatever, or isn't special to me, I'll leave it. So I left those for her to go through. So I'm hoping by this Christmas to have those to me. And then maybe I'll go back to the antique mall because I would like to get some that are already manufactured.
Yeah.
And there were some cute ones.
There were some cute ones. You need a little music studio.
I do. Oh, that's such a good idea. I don't know if they have that, but I'll look. But if not, I bet they have those online somewhere.
I bet they have. You could, or I'll paint it on there for you.
There you go.
I'm crafty. I haven't been crafty in a while, but I could do that. Find something that looks like it. I'll make it say.
And I'm already in my head, where do I want to set it up? And one of my daughters, London, is great at decorating and making things look good. So I sent her a picture just of the boxes and I was like, will you help me with this at Christmas time? So she's all excited. How do we want to lay these out? One of them I did take for sure was a lighthouse because the hometown where I grew up has a lighthouse
Aw.
that people visit and walk to, and like it's a working lighthouse that you can walk out to. You can't go inside, but
Okay.
because it's automated.
You have a
But-
lighthouse in the Midwest?
Yes, Lake Michigan.
Oh, lake, duh.
Yeah, Lake
I
Michigan.
just always think like
You're like the
well, we
ocean.
lived in Missouri
Yeah.
and then like Kansas, so it's just like fields. So I always, which the Midwest is a very big area. I always forget about
is.
all the lakes.
Yeah, so
You're right.
the boats coming in from Lake
Yes.
Michigan still to this day need the lighthouse, so they know where the pier is and they don't run ashore. So I did bring that one as like a little hint of like
Aww.
home. So
I can't wait to
will have
see
to
it.
post some pictures of that when I get it all up and
cannot
running.
Wait to see it. So
Yes.
speaking of can't wait, we were so excited to come across one booth in particular that might sound a little familiar to all of you out there.
I think they know it's coming. Maybe.
Okay, so we found our friend Patrick and Dina's booth. Woo! And I just got to tell y'all, there's so much in their booth that reminds me, oh my God, Katie, just look around. Like, I can't turn around in their booth without seeing my childhood. There is Gremlins. There is an old camera with film, 1981. It is a camera. There is... there's a Clue VHS mystery game. We totally had that. There is a see-through phone, which I had this exact phone.
We might need just that for the pod studio.
Right?
Just for like decoration.
Yes, I
love
had
it.
that phone in my dang bedroom. There is a Lisa Frank clipboard.
What?
Y'all
Oh,
are-
and look, it looks like you can like open the back of it. You know those clipboards that you open at the back and put
Yes.
school supplies in?
They're targeting me. I see you,
They are.
Patrick and Dina. I see you.
They knew we
There's-
were coming.
There's also a Gummy Bears, the TV show. Gummy Bears.
There's also a
bouncing in the-
sweet 2-cassette boombox.
Sweet.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah, their booth is awesome. And they have some fun clothes that I'm totally going to look through. And I think
Me
I see
too.
the jacket. I'm going to have to leave at that. So
Yep,
the
they
jacket
still
I
have
wanted.
it.
All right. So yay, we found Shiznit. Oh, look at the
Woo.
Lance Bass bobblehead.
Hey, we have the same birthday.
You and Lance?
Yeah, he's a couple years older than me.
Birthday.
We both have the Star Wars birthday.
buddies,
Mhm.
birthday buddies. Okay, yay. We're so excited we found their booth.
I don't know what was happening in that booth.
Are we okay?
If you wonder, that is exactly how conversations with Katie and I go all the time.
Yeah.
We are all over the place, random singing. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Me like
don't finish
shouting out
thoughts.
random trivia about birthdays. Like, why
Does
not?
Make sense. Okay.
Anywho,
We were also, we loved finding our friend's booth. And by the way, I was so sad because that jacket did not fit me. It
I
was too
know.
big.
It was too big. Like, it wasn't even like, oh, a
Like
little
oversized.
oversized and that's cute. No, it was just too big.
When you're short and you have short limbs and short torso, it's a fine line between oversized cuteness and just
Mhm.
looking like you're wearing your dad's clothes.
Which is kind of what it looked like.
It did. It was so cute. So it's still there if anybody wants it. But
Yeah.
we
was
were
really cute.
also super excited to find something
boy.
else.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Yes.
Okay, so Katie found us matching windsuits, swear, from the 80s. 100%. They are turquoise, blue, and purple. And literally, we were going to make these work. They were almost our size. And except there are names written on the inside. Well, there was a name on the inside of one, the one I tried on. Obviously, it was Ben's. And Ben had a very good time in his windsuit because there was a whole lot of stains.
Yeah, we weren't sure if we could get the stains out of Ben's windsuit jacket.
Yeah. And they were $45 a piece. If they were $10 a piece, we would have tried to figure it out. But like the sleeve looked like it maybe had some puke stains. The inside was definitely sweaty stains. And that sweat stain's been there since the 80s. So yeah. Anyway, it was really funny. And we had all kinds of ideas of the places and situations we could wear matching windsuits.
But I think the idea has been born and
It's
it will
been born.
happen. We just might not buy Ben's windsuits.
Yeah, we're manifesting matching windsuits
Yeah.
that are actually from the 80s or 90s.
Not
we
like
go.
replica ones on Amazon.
No.
Yes, the
Ooh.
windsuits. And y'all, yes, I did, in fact, do research on the windsuits.
Yay! I'm
Are
excited
we
about
so
this.
pumped about this?
I am.
Uh, so we are going to have a whole photo shoot in windbreakers at some point. So stay tuned. So here is your information. Windbreakers, not windsuits, but windbreakers really started to become popular in the 1970s. But if you look far enough back, you can find these types of jackets appearing as far as 500 years ago. So the premise of windbreakers actually comes from parkas, which if you lived
Mhm.
anywhere cold and wet, you know what a parka is. And they were first created by all right, Katie, you're going to have to help me on pronunciation because I don't want to mispronounce this.
Okay.
Is it Inuit?
Inuit.
Okay.
Inuit. Yeah.
I didn't want to say that wrong. So they were first created by Inuits, who are indigenous people, due to frigid conditions. So the parka was actually made of 2 animal skins, seal and caribou.
Okay.
So here's how they made it. They put the 2 skins together with the skin facing outward and the hair side facing inward.
Okay.
So you'd stay warm, and they were able to trap the warm air inside the jacket, and then it was weatherproofed on the outside due to the seal skin because, seals, the water runs off their skin. So pretty ingenious thing to create. But in the 20th century, these waterproof insulated jackets were picked up by Western polar explorers, of course, because let's just steal everybody's ideas and then make money off of them. You knew that was coming, right? You knew it was coming. So they modified the jacket, though, which then entered into the sports wardrobe market.
Whoa.
Yeah. So after World War II, nylon replaced animal skins, and the development of waterproof fabrics led to the production of thinner jackets, so you could be warmer without as much material. Okay. So windbreakers evolved to be made, instead of from animal skins, to be made from nylon, polycotton, or just other cotton mixes. And then they're treated with like a waterproof finish to withstand the rain. Okay. So that's kind of how they've evolved in their design form. But here's how they got popular. So during the 70s, these jackets really grew in popularity for people wanting to look fashionable, but also wear something functional.
Yes.
Who knew that you could do that in a windbreaker? But you can. You used to could. Well, you still kind of can. Kaden actually bought one at the Nike store not too long ago. But of course, they were popular in the late 80s and early 90s in the neon colors that we know so well and that attracted us to them in the thrift store, and the swishy, loud walk of the pants that go with the jacket. Can we talk about that for a second?
Yes. And I feel like it's similar to like what we would now call athleisure.
Athleisure, yes.
Where you could go on a little jog or walk in them, or you could just wear it.
You could just wear it. But here's the thing I had several wind suits. So windbreaker, the jacket came before the pants. So basically they just use the same technology to make pants, and then you had a whole matching outfit, right?
Yes.
I had a few of those back in the 90s, and it was always funny. You could hear people walking down the halls of school, right?
Imagine like being a teacher at that time and like passing period. Like that was like probably deafening. Although, I mean, same thing. I'm sure there's stuff on clothes now that.
Is there though?
I don't know. Do clothes make noise still? Like when you walk.
I don't know. I also had pleather pants that would make the.
Yes. And when you stand up and sit down, it's like the crackle. Yes. Oh my gosh, me too.
Oh man. So that's our little background on the windbreaker.
And yes, our windbreakers are coming to us.
They're coming.
I am receiving them from the universe.
I know.
They will be in our lives soon. I am looking forward to that. Just Ben's wasn't it. So
nah.
Okay, so we're gonna take a little bit of a left turn here for something that we were, again, not looking for, not expecting to find, but brought us like a little bit of joy and a little bit of like, when we saw it. So here we go.
Okay, so we just found a book of the photographer Anne Geddes. So this brought back some memories because I had one of these books, which is bizarre because I don't really like babies, but I guess I did. So Anne Geddes had all these pictures of babies like in different things, like as a flower, and what else?
I don't know, just like in the middle of Flowers, lots
Yeah.
of flowers. I don't know. And did you just say I don't like babies?
I don't really. Like, we know this. Like, I liked my babies, but like, I'm not one of those people who's like, can I hold your baby? Like, I don't, unless I know you personally, I don't want to hold your baby ever.
Fair.
But like, it was such a weird phenomenon. Like, there were posters and books and
Bookmarks. I remember bookmarks.
and it's kind of creepy.
If you think about it, it kind of is. I would like to research it because I would like to know, like,
Yes.
did these babies make money? Like, did their families like have little college funds? Because that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, you'll know when y'all are listening
Yeah.
what the answer is to
We'll
that.
find out.
Yes, of course. Now I'm hearing that and I'm like, I don't know if I researched that part. I guess we're going to find out. But yes, I did, true to my word, do a little bit of research into the why and the what and the how of Anne Geddes.
Why? Tell me the why. for
Okay,
real.
so Anne Geddes grew up in Northern Australia
Okay.
and she had aspirations to be a sign painter. So that's really,
Interesting.
and something really interesting about her, she doesn't have a single photograph of herself as a baby.
Huh.
Yeah. And she was born, I don't have this on here, but she was born in like the 1950s, I believe, 40s or 50s.
Okay.
But she always loved photography, particularly the full page images she would see in Life magazine. So this is a quote from her. I used to stare at them and think, that's a moment in time that's there forever.
Mhm.
And I still think that the power of a still image far outweighs the power of a moving video, which, yeah, what do they say, like a picture tells 1,000
Yeah,
words or something.
it's
Like
true.
there's a lot, and it freezes time in that moment. So in the early 1990s, she began working as an assistant to a photographer who
Okay.
specialized in baby portraiture, just
Yeah.
normal pictures of your babies. And she actually loved shooting pictures of children, but she felt like the static work of it, like, the monotony, and this was her word, she said, was exhausting.
Mm.
And the way that all creative work eventually becomes when it's not the kind you want to be doing.
Ooh, we all feel that.
Man, so to give herself a bit of a break, she just for fun decided to start shooting images like the ones we got used to once a month. So it's not like she's like, oh, I love babies, I must shoot pictures. It was literally her day job was to
Yeah.
take pictures of babies. So she's like, well, since there's babies here, let's just like do something creative once a month,
Okay.
right? So she, after a while, built up quite a collection of these, and she would give copies to the families, and so they would also have the pictures. So in 1996, she published that book, Down in the Garden.
Yes. That's the one we saw.
That's the one we
Yeah.
saw. And she turned babies into beds of roses, tucking them in between the soft petals of tulips. So Oprah found this book,
Yeah.
as all books, authors, artists that were catapulted in the mid to late 90s were.
Even now still.
Even now.
Mm.
Or Reese's book club, if you get her stamp, yep, that's it.
You're
So she flew Anne Geddes to Chicago to appear on her show, Oprah's show, and naming the work the best coffee table book she'd ever seen.
That's so 90s,
I know.
right?
Well, wasn't it on Seinfeld when Kramer was going to make a coffee table book
Yes,
was
of
pictures
coffee
of coffee
tables.
tables? Yeah.
And you could make it into a coffee table.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so great. So from being on Oprah, she was catapulted into like worldwide
Of course.
phenomenon. The book flew to the top of the New York Times bestseller list for weeks. She went on to appear on an episode of Friends.
Really?
Isn't that crazy? And I remember this. She shot a book with Celine Dion.
And babies?
I don't think it was with babies.
Celine Dion with the baby and a flower.
Actually, it might have been.
Oh my God, stop.
But I loved this. She ended up partnering with March of Dimes
Aw.
to help research and families dealing with issues like prematurity.
Aw.
Don't believe she had children. I looked it up. Couldn't find for sure. So I don't want to say she definitely
Okay.
did not because she's nowhere on the record saying like, I don't want to have kids. But it also doesn't list her anywhere as being a mother or being married. So she leads a pretty quiet life now. She's still living. The industry that made her a star, pretty much dried up.
Yeah.
Like really, she was at the tail end
Yeah.
of that kind of thing, making money. There's not a market for that kind of stuff. There's AI. The internet can produce things quicker and cheaper, but she, she's comfortable and living her life, but she's not photographing anymore.
Do we still think it's weird?
I think so here's the thing. I can see how she got to that point because babies were her subject matter. So that's what she photographed.
Mhm.
I think it's weird that it was so popular.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. That like she was just kind of doing something creative, and then she probably had so many. She was like, "Oh, this is kind of calming. How sweet! Like babies. Maybe like the people I know will buy this book from me." But then for it to be like a bestseller and calendars and bookmarks and posters,
and like
is a little weird.
I was a teenager and I had that book. What?
Yeah, it was like you literally couldn't put it in a stocking, but it was like that kind of thing. It was like a stocking stuffer, like you buy it for your teacher, or
right?
I mean, it's a little weird.
I don't know.
And I didn't look up about the kids if they made any money. So, guys, that'll be a circle back.
It will
Stay
be.
tuned because I do want to know.
I just saw. I was Googling while Katie was talking, which is rude, and y'all should not do that to people.
Oh no, it's okay.
But I was trying to see if they got paid, but they had like a then and now, like showing the baby models.
Cute.
So I'm assuming they did.
Probably, because they'd probably be like. I'm guessing she either paid them when she put them in her book and they signed something so they have no like legal recourse, or there was a royalty clause. And that when she was like, even if it wasn't that much for each book sold or each time their image was used, they got money.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they probably had something like that.
Because I don't think nothing popped up like the whole drama with the baby on the cover of Nirvana's Nevermind. Like he tried to sue him and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, moving on.
Yes.
From creepy baby flowers.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. If y'all like that, that's great.
I mean, it's calming and it's cute. Like I said, I think it's weird that it caught on the way that it did.
Yeah.
I won't deny that it's adorable.
Oh, yeah, it's adorable.
But like to the level that it took off is a little weird. Yeah. As a culture, like what were we doing?
Like, why do I need a baby in a sunflower pot? I don't know.
I don't know why.
But maybe you do, and that makes you happy, and so fine. Go for it.
Totally.
But okay, who knew that there would be even more dishes at the antique mall that would make our childhood memories spark? And it's something we've talked about on here before.
Yes.
OMG, we just found some of the McDonald's glasses, and these are the OG ones. I don't think they're very hard to find. I remember Patrick saying that, like they're not hard to find, but I haven't seen them in a while. And they have the Hamburglar, and they have the, that's the police officer. That's the, do you
Big
remember?
Mac.
Yeah.
Isn't it just Big Mac?
Big Mac. Yeah, but he's in a police outfit. I don't know.
Yeah.
And they have the other one that is Mayor McCheese. I don't remember him.
Could you forget?
They're $12 a piece. So I'm
how
passing.
much?
$12.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So I'm gonna pass on that. But it's fun to find them in the wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So the main thing I thought about, because we saw these multiple times in the antique mall, and I found some cheaper and I almost bought them. But then I was like, wait, I can't remember if these glasses were safe to use, because I thought I remembered in our other episode coming across some research saying something about the paint in the glasses. So I looked it up. And so here's it wasn't a simple answer, as nothing ever is when you revisit anything. So here's some kind of background and the answer to that question. So before U.S. regulatory measures were introduced in the mid-1970s, manufacturers often added lead and, to a lesser extent, the carcinogens cadmium and arsenic to ceramic glazes, painted barware, and crystal glassware.
Dang.
Yeah, because it was used to improve their appearance and their durability.
Okay.
And I remembered that. Once I read that, I was like, oh, yeah, that's why I remember reading something a long time ago about being careful about antique glassware that you buy because of this very reason. Even just regular like glasses from before the 70s. So as a result, there are some vintage items that contain some pretty toxic substances, and they can even be like a source of lead poisoning.
Dang.
I know. So here's the thing. Repeated exposure to lead and cadmium can cause it to accumulate in our bones and kidneys, respectively. So it can kind of contribute to a wide range of health problems, including, listen to this, reduced bone density, neurological issues, low sperm count, mood disorders, joint pain, and heart disease.
Jeez.
Yeah. And that's not like a one-time, I use a glass. It's repeated exposure over and over, which is why, there's so many things, regulations in place now to prevent this from happening. But unfortunately, it's super tricky to determine if an antique item contains lead without help from like a specialized consumer product testing lab.
Wow.
Which can be difficult given most focus on testing paint and soil for these items. And it's pricey to pay professionals just to test the McDonald's glasses that you pick up at the thrift store, right? So there are DIY lead test swabs that you can find at hardware stores, but they are not specifically designed for consumer items.
Okay.
So it could be very unreliable results. So even if a glass says, oh yeah, it doesn't have lead, it still could.
Right. Okay.
So here's the thing. As a general guideline, when you're looking at those antique glasses of any kind, be wary of orange, yellow, or red items because cadmium is frequently used to achieve those pigments.
Okay.
And it has been found in products ranging from 1970s Garfield glasses to novelty McDonald's cups from 2010.
Dang.
I know, even after the regulations were in place. Oof. So, I mean, not every object in those colors will have the cadmium, but if in doubt, consider just researching its origins or not using it like by your mouth. Just put it in a display cabinet or on a shelf just to look at.
Are you going to get your McDonald's glasses to just put on a little shelf in your house? No.
So I shall not be obtaining those, which is very sad. So if you have any in storage or you find any anywhere, like maybe not.
Don't drink out
of them.
Yeah.
And I was super excited. This is a side note. I was so excited that McDonald's said they were going to have these collectible Happy Meals that just came out.
Right.
With collectible glasses. They said glasses in their advertising.
You sent it to me.
Okay?
That's what it said.
It did. So my kid went and got one, came home. They are plastic.
Ugh.
They are not glass.
How? Like, that's not even the same vibe.
No, it was so disappointing. It was like, he was upset. He was like, Mom, this is plastic. I was like, why is everything plastic?
Yeah.
I mean, we know why. Capitalism. But whatever.
Yeah. I also was thinking I'm just going to start saying diet culture all the time. That'll be mine.
Facts.
Why that's diet culture, I don't know. But
I mean,
when it's appropriate...
If it was that a low fat cup, I guess.
Yeah. I was talking to our listener, Sarah, and she's like, oh, I just listened to because she's kind of listening out of order, just whatever she's in the mood for. And she was like, oh, I listened to Diet Culture. I was like, oh,
it's a lot.
And so we talked about it for a while. And then she's like, yeah, but like this thing is Diet Culture. I'm like, so is this thing. I was like, everything. I think I'm just going to have to start like how Dani says capitalism, patriarchy. I'm just going to have to start sprinkling that in, but not here.
But guess who invented diet culture?
McDonald's?
Both of those things.
Oh. Yes. Actually, why would McDonald's? What?
I was like, I don't know, Katie. Today's a weird day, guys. This is a weird day.
Okay. But don't worry. We're about to pull into the station. We have one more clip for you guys of something we
found dishes.
About dishes, sort of. Not glass ones, though.
No.
You'll see.
We found a whole baby crib full of Tupperware.
Every type. So you know how there's the Tupperware that had the lids that had all the like creases or pleats?
Yeah, because this is the Tupperware from Tupperware Party Days. For those of y'all that don't remember, that was like a big deal for like my mom's era.
Mm-hmm. Mine
Tupperware
too.
parties. Like you would go and buy all the Tupperware, and it has this distinct look like this with like the ridges on the top.
Mm-hmm. And you would push it down in the middle, and it would make like a little sound before it would close. So you knew it was airtight.
You knew it was sealed,
supposedly.
And honestly, I feel like it was made so much better than the junk you buy like in Walmart and junk now. Like it was like that's thicker plastic to me. But they also had like pictures, like there's some pictures here. Mm-hmm. And look at the fun colors. Everything's like the orange and the blue and yellow and like very retro and fun.
I really like it.
I guess that's all we had to say about Tupperware. I really like it. But don't worry, all. I did do a little bit of research here.
Yay.
Okay, so Tupperware is an American company, so there you go. That's still in existence. They manufacture and internationally distribute prep, storage, and serving containers for the kitchen and the rest of the home. So in 1942, it was founded by Earl Tupper. So he just named it after himself. Tupperware.
I would do that too.
Yeah. I think, what would it be if you did that?
I would not use
Home-
my last name because
Oh.
that's not my last name. That's my married last name.
true,
It would
true.
be Dani Ware.
Dani Ware. Ooh, I wonder
know.
what that would be.
See?
Ooh, we're going to think about
Everybody's
this.
excited for that now.
Well, Earl Tupper developed his first bell-shaped container. So I kind of looked that up, and it's like flat on the bottom, and then
Yes.
like so the bottom's kind of the lid, and
Yeah.
then you put the thing on top, and it seals. And he introduced that to the public in 1946. So that's when it all got started, right? So it's still around as of 2007. It was sold by approximately 1.9 million direct salespeople on contract, which we're going to loop to in a second. In 2013, the top marketplaces for Tupperware were Indonesia, and that was more than Germany, which I guess is right behind it. And sales in 2013 in Indonesia were 200 million, which is wild. So we'll get into this a little bit, but like essentially this was one of the OG direct marketing companies,
That's what I was gonna ask.
MLMs, where not so much now where there's like tiers of people and like, you know, you've got to report to this person who gets a cut. It wasn't so much that. It was literally like you get your stock and you make a cut off what you sell. That's kind of how it started. But it was direct sales like from your home and that sort of thing. So Earl Tupper asked for pure polyethylene. There we go. Polyethylene pellets from DuPont, the company DuPont, to build Tupperware in 1938. And then that first product in 1946 came out in Massachusetts. And this is like a stronger plastic, like we talked about in our clip. It could keep foods airtight. And those seals that made the sound were called burping seals.
Nice.
Because it would make that little like hiss or sound.
Yeah. It was
And it was patented. The burping seal was patented in 1949. So it became popular with a sail-through presentation idea held at a party setting, usually someone's house.
Yeah.
But you could go to these at church. I mean, they could be anywhere. So they had a direct marketing strategy that was like a party. So you would have this Tupperware party, and it enabled women, particularly in the 1950s, to start to earn an income, but they were still at home, right? So, yeah. So they were making money, but you still got to stay at your house to do it.
And what you're selling has to do with cooking and maintaining your house.
Right,
Okay.
exactly. So Brownie Wise was a former sales representative of Stanley Home Products, which is funny. That's the same Stanley that the cups are also wildly popular.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that company's been around forever. So she was organizing these parties, and soon they actually took her out of her kitchen, made her the vice president of marketing in 1951 at Tupperware. So she later sort of like not patented, but kind of trademarked this idea of the signature Tupperware parties.
Okay.
And women at the parties were exhorted to sell more. Listen to this. And this was the slogan: no sex, no sup, just tup, tup, tup.
Were sex parties a big deal?
I feel like no. So what does that mean?
No sup like supper?
I guess.
What?
So they're not having sex parties or dinner
supper,
parties?
It's just Tupperware.
I guess.
What?
I guess I would need to deeper dig into the
I
kind
do
of
not-
parties that were going on in the 1950s.
I mean, I was thinking, what decade was it? The swinger parties were
wasn't that like
the fishbowl keys? That's like the 60s, 70s, right?
So this would have been before that.
Okay.
Well, anyway, I guess it worked because a lot of people were doing them. So
Like people were like, well, thank God there's not sex or supper. I'm going.
no food, no sex. Yes, this is a party I can get behind. Plastic burping seals. Let's go.
Done.
In orange and blue and green. So kind of like we've just touched on, the Tupperware party sales model actually created opposing views by feminists. So positive feminist reviews considered Tupperware, it was an employment opportunity for women who were pregnant or just at home or not otherwise able to get a position at work because gender laws were unequal in the workplace. So this gave them a path to some financial freedom. The opposing view stated that it intended gendered products and selling campaigns that further domesticated women, kept their predominant focus on homemaking.
Yeah.
Which is what you said.
Yeah.
It also includes the restriction of women to the domestic sphere, limiting the real separation between running the household and a career.
Well, it's like, here, make some money, but only when your husband's home from work at night And it has to do with all the things you have to do because you stay at home.
And it's going to keep your kitchen more organized and your cooking better.
Right.
Yeah. So I feel that I have friends who either to me talk about this or just, in social spaces about how there are still careers like that for women now. And it's made me really think about it because when my kids were younger, I had a parenting blog and my friend was like, well, that's like and I'm like, yeah, because I can like be at home and do it. She's like, you're like limiting yourself to talking about being a mom while you're at home being a mom.
Mm-hmm.
But like in the end, it brought me joy. I like writing. I'm so glad I did it. And I did make some money doing it. But it did make me think like all these like kind of hustle culture and like do your side hustle, how much of it for women still tends to focus on that side of things. Like, oh, well, you're home anyway doing all these things. So why don't you like give laundry folding tips on TikTok and make your money that way? That's an extreme example, but
not that there's anything wrong if you choose to stay home with your kids, but it is a really weird area, I think. I feel like totally see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I understand both sides of the coin here with the argument with the Tupperware parties.
Yeah.
Because as somebody who has been part of several direct sales adventures when I was a stay-at-home parent and was the default parent because my husband was active duty military and I did not have the opportunity to work outside of my home, it did give you a little freedom to feel like you are contributing financially a little bit.
And just like the confidence of selling things and how that feels. I feel like there's a big confidence boost to earning an income.
Oh, yeah.
Like I like, even if it's not a lot, my friend Sarah and I the other day when we were at lunch and we were talking about, I said, this is a longer story than we have time for today, but when I got back into performing and acting, it was only about 5 years ago and I had taken a really long break because of children and career and all the things and getting married and moving and all the things. One of the things I would write in my journal when I do aspirational writing, so things that I am not yet, but I would like to be so, or be better at. I am a patient parent. I am an attentive friend, stuff like that, stuff I want to strive to be. One of the things I would write down every day was I am a paid performer. And because for me, that was a marker that it was more than just like something I kind of like to do. It was a value to me and something other people valued in me.
Yeah.
And so, it started like, a voice lesson here, a voice lesson there. I got paid a little bit to do Fringe. I got paid a little to do community theater. And as it started to kind of build, it was something that I valued. And I think as women sometimes, well, and maybe men too, just in general, we don't like to talk about money in this country. It's faux pas. It's okay to be like, I like that I either earn an amazing living or earn a little bit doing this thing. And it's not because, I can contribute to my family. That's part of it. But I think it's also okay just to be like, I feel good when people pay me to do things that I'm good at.
Yeah. I think it's interesting sometimes and so much we have to remember too, when we're talking about making income and staying home parent, a lot of that is from a place of privilege, right? And that you don't control. Yes. And I was telling that to one of my clients who's also a friend for personal training the other day, because I work part-time because I can. And I told her, I said, I work because I want to, not because I have to.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself that that is not a common narrative.
That's a great point.
And how lucky I am to be able to say that, because my husband did 20 years in the military. We do have that retirement pay plus his civilian pay that he now has his other career that he's stuck in for another 20 years.
Oops.
I know he does all the really hard things. And that's why, so I feel like too, when we talk about money and jobs, like we have to remember, like it is sometimes, a lot of times people don't have a choice,
Yes.
And it is a nice, lucky, privileged position to be in a place where you're like, I can, because you were a single mom for a while. And
I was a single
being
mom
a paid
for 3
performer
years.
Was not an option.
That's when it first went out the window.
Exactly.
And it took over a decade to get it back because it wasn't an option.
Right.
Not even like, 1 hour a week, I'll go to a chorus that's free. I could
not
go to work,
right,
pay my childcare bill, and like
Survive.
be home with my kid.
Yeah, and survive.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, we literally went down the wrong path.
Okay.
We
Well,
went
if you stuck
serious.
around this long, you got a little treat, everyone. So
You
good
never
job.
know. You never know what's going to happen here on
Mhm.
Generation in Between.
Never
We
know.
go from talking about burping dishes to the wage gap.
To the wage gap and Katie's single parenting and all the things. But we hope that you did enjoy our little nostalgia-filled thrifting trip today.
Yes.
We will be doing more road recordings. These mics are super fun.
So
We got one that, because of course I have the newer phone that doesn't fit, so I had to get my own mics, but they're not very expensive. So I got those too. So if you liked what you heard today, please share us, review us, tell people of all generations to listen. Of course, you can find us everywhere you listen to podcasts. Follow us on our socials. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and now TikTok. Don't miss it. It's a hot mess.
We're there,
You're going to
guys.
love it. And of course, go check out America's Antique Mall for your own Xennial Nostalgia
Yes.
field trip and tell them that the Generation in Between podcast host sent you.
I like what Amanda said about us today. She said we are the dynamic duo.
Yeah.
So tell them the Generation in Between dynamic duo. sent you.
Yes, I love that. That's what you tell them, and they'll have a little tally sheet, I'm sure, and be like, hey, guys,
You got a whopping 2 people here.
2 people came in and said you sent them, so good job. But you can see the sources for our research as well in our show notes. So until next time, keep thrifting.
Yes.
Don't drink out of lead-based glass or
and
eat
check
on them.
your windsuits for puke stains.
And don't buy windsuits from Ben.
Ben.
Sorry, Ben. Whoever
Well, maybe
you are.
he's not alive anymore. I don't know.
Oh, geez.
I know. Sorry. Sorry we went there.
Oh, my God.
I gotta go now.
All right. Well, we'll see you next time, guys. Bye.
I just meant because they were old suits.